Welcome to Two Minds Today with your host, Charlene, authority in leadership development, and Haleh, an expert community builder. The pod all about best practices to get you noticed and ahead in your professional life.
Hi, Haleh.
Hey, Charlene. It's so good to see you. Our once a week coast to coast connection. How you doing?
I'm good. It's good to see you too. I am excited today because I feel like personally, like we are in a rhythm now. Like we're every week, and I was like, oh, let's pick up from where we talked about last week. And and it's exciting. We have to have a continued conversation with everybody.
Let's do it. I love it.
So last week we sort of ended off with learn a little, and we got into a bit of that conversation around technology, right? And we talked about, okay, you have to learn more so that you can like understand what is possible. And I think every week we're ended up talking a little bit about AI. And so today we thought we would like continue this conversation on technology and how is it interacting with personalities and team dynamics. So today we are doing personality puzzle, cracking the code for team trust and authenticity with tech.
That sounds so cool, Charlene.
We are not going to lie.
It sounds very catchy. Okay, I'm going to tell you that. That sounds catchy.
So we are not going to lie to our audience because we absolutely believe in building trust, and we will tell you that ChatGPT came up with the title for today's podcast. So if you don't like it, take it up with ChatGPT. If you do like it, use it for yourself. ChatGPT, not this title. So let's start with
because that's our intellectual property. Is that what you're saying? Definitely can't.
I don't know. No, I don't know. You're the lawyer. You tell me.
Yeah, right. It's going to be pretty interesting. We put in the prompts. ChatGPT came up with it. Is it ours? I think it is.
I don't know. There's so much going around about AI uses what's available. So we absolutely have stolen something from somebody in one point at the internet. So with that, let's start off with, how do you think technology has impacted our ability to really form those authentic relationships in the workplace is what we're talking about.
Right. Yeah. I think that's a really great question because it has, right? The inability to see everybody all the time. And I think most people now, unless you have a job that requires you to be in the office every day, I think most offices and most corporate entities are allowing us to have some level of work from home in order to get things done. So I do think that it has significantly impacted our ability to see each other. Your question is, does it affect our ability to form real, authentic relationships? I think it does. What do you think?
I just had a conversation with someone yesterday. They are very interesting. They're wrapping up their MBA in operations. And I was like, ooh, what an interesting time to like be diving into this with everything with COVID. And it is no secret that like 5 of, I don't know, the tech CEOs all got together and were like, oh, we're going to make everybody go back in person now. And Disney, like there's a lot of, who was it? Somebody was like, if you're not in the office, you're fired 3 days a week.
Right. Wasn't it Tesla? And
it may be Elon. That sounds like an Elon Musk thing.
Yeah, it was an Elon Musk thing.
And my global thought is like, who's going to win that war, right? Is it going to be the workforce that does not want to come in and has proven to be equally productive? Or is it going to be the CEOs who are fighting for what I think this is the culture? And I think what we are coming up against with personality is the newer generation of workers are not getting their friend group from work. They're going to work. So personality plays a little bit of a different role, right? When in the old days, for like Haleh and I, we met at work and we are really good friends. And, but that was part of the culture of work was I'm going to make my friends at work. If you are taking that out, what role does personality play? And I think that if we are assuming you're not there to make friends, you're assuming that you're going to do a good job and you're going to get your paycheck and you're out, because that is what people are saying right now, then personality is very much used to be productivity. How can we use and connect? And so relationships, like they move from the personal to the professional, and it's no less authentic. It's just really different and really hard to wrap your head around.
So it's tricky, right?
Yeah.
Because the glue of successful professional relationships does have to do with a personal connection, right? This is where we talk about the importance of having mentors and having an advocate in the
Mm.
workforce, and why it is that people who look like the leaders who are there are able to succeed more. It's really because they're capable of making that personal connection.
But
So I hear
yeah.
what you're saying, that maybe all that matter, the only piece of your personality that matters is the piece that can show how professional and how
Well,
productive it is. But I still think that the glue that holds people together in a workforce is the ability to connect with each other on a personal level. So you need that still, I think. I
I
don't
I'm
think we can
like
take
I'm
away
like
from it.
jumping because I feel like you said something so interesting. And it was also the thread of what people are coming against with personal biases. So there was a TikTok back and forth on HR recruiters. I have not been in the HR world. I cannot speak to which one is correct and which one is not correct. But there was one HR professional who was like, ask this question in your interview, like try and find like interests. You like to ski? I like to ski. And then there was, and this person was newer in the world, and then a more seasoned professional. I cannot tell you which one is right and which is wrong. But the more seasoned professional was like, absolutely do not do that. That is bias. That's discriminatory. And that is where you are getting into so much trouble. And that is where like is hiring like. And your workforce just becomes a bubble of you. And that is not going to actually make you stronger or better in the future. And by the way, it's illegal. So it's
All true. Okay, all true. I get all of that. At the end of the day, though, when you're interviewing someone, you need to be able to connect on a personal level for the
Mm.
interview to be at its best. Even if you're, I, I got to tell you, I very much was one of those people who was all about the professional and put my step forward professionally, because I didn't come from this country and I wasn't able to connect in that banter when I first came. And I have to say, it did not serve me well. It didn't
Mm.
matter that I double and triple produced everybody else. It didn't matter that I was respectful and I would come up with ideas and all of that. The person who went to lunch with someone and laughed with the person was the one who would get the benefit of the doubt when someone made a mistake, or was the one who was able to
Yeah.
shrug it off. So
Well, wait, so pause there. By the way,
flexible.
I think you hit on something so important. When we like someone, we give them more of a benefit of a doubt. And I will say, and that is a bias that we should not have. Right?
But
If
I don't think
you
you eliminate it. I don't know how
I
you
took
eliminate
a
it. It's
well, by no
reality.
one by recognizing it. So I took a manager training course, and that's the very first thing they said. It said, "Are you treating each of your people equally, whether you like them or not?" And I would say we just don't do that, right? Absolutely. If there's someone I like that is so nice, and they do a job that's not great, I'm like, okay. And someone I don't like, you for whatever reason you don't like, maybe you could have absolutely legitimate reasons, nothing to do with personality, right? Like they just haven't done as good of a job for you in the past, etc. We are so much more like, I used to have like an access. This is really bad, not a real one, but like how nice you are and how confident you are. If you want to, I think we've talked about this. If you're super confident, you could be less nice. If you're super nice, can you be less confident? And
You
it's
can be, because the reason is that most workforces also have a team element to it. And the nice person is the person who can bring the group together sometimes. And so you can make up for their lack of competency by their ability to be the glue that pulls the group together. And so going back to whether tech has helped or hurt us, it hurts if we forget that it's important to make those personal relationships. So I would say that if you're in a workforce, whether you're a manager or whether you're not a manager, it's important to set up scheduled meetings once a week for sure, to connect with people, even though it's
yeah,
like contrived, because you don't have the accidental bump into someone at the water cooler anymore. So you have to like
yeah,
create those spaces to make these connections where you could say, oh, guess what? I just got stuck in traffic. And oh, did you try this new restaurant? And do they have this on the other side of the country? Like that's where people connect a little.
So absolutely. And we've talked, I think, about this before too. There is no more accidental connections. Everything is on purpose. So yes, are you absolutely scheduling check-ins? Are you doing cross team check-ins? And maybe you have nothing to say, but you're saving that time once a month to like check in and be humans and people, because you are going to work with everybody in the future, and that makes everything easier. I think one thing that, and I already see we are flying through this podcast today. I have so much to say. I want to make sure we talk a little bit like tangible, right? So we know that everyone is coming in with different personalities, and one piece of technology that I think could be really beneficial is using technology to understand each team's personality and what they contribute to team dynamics. So this is moving a little bit away from like personality, who I am as a human, and back to personality, who I am as work. Am I a technical person? Do I love detail? Am I a big visioning person?
You're talking about personality tests and all of that good stuff. Okay, so I love that, and I would love to take it on next week. I really would, because I think I could talk about that for hours. I think that's a really exciting one. So let's say for today, though, what's your takeaway of your highlight?
Yeah. Okay. So I think one, personality is so important, however it comes out. I strongly think that first thing first, like you really do have to understand the bias you have, and who are you applying it to. Right. That's first and foremost, understanding your own biases. What are you coming into a relationship with? Because if you got to start on yourself before you can start to interact with other people, because maybe you're like, oh, I'm really hard. It could be random, right? This person can remind you of your great aunt that you just don't like. And then you're coming into that interaction and you're like, I already don't like you because of this really random thing that my own baggage I'm coming into.
I mean, that's so evolved of you. I think like that's incredible. Really, well, how much therapy does one need to go through to get to like truly getting, which I think it's wonderful. And I hope that the tech that we have will make our work less strenuous, so we have time to delve into ourselves and understand our biases.
I listened to a great Grammarly. I'm obsessed with Grammarly. And people are using it to understand their tone, diction, detail, like how they're coming across. And you can do the same with ChatGPT.
Love it. Right.
So you can use any technology to run your language through an algorithm, say like, hey, how does this sound? How am I appearing to somebody else? I wrote a letter to a hockey coach, and I'm like, hey, well, let's be honest. ChatGPT wrote the letter. I edited it. We went back and forth a lot. And I said, hey, how is this sounding to the coach? Because I do not want to come across as a crazy mom. And it like outputted.
All right. We're definitely going to have to continue this next week, but I do want to burst your bubble with that and say the analysis, even the objective ChatGPT analysis, is based on an amalgam of a biased perception of how you're perceiving somebody else, right? So like, let's
yes, it's so true. All right. So I think number one is understanding what you are coming into the personality with, like just thinking about yourself and how you're interacting.
I love it. And I think number two, make sure you make a point of interacting, scheduling it if you're remote, and also truthfully, and we know we didn't hit on it, I'm giving it to you at the last hour here, but make an effort to periodically see the people in person. That's what, if you can pull it off, get that face-to-face, because there's so much nonverbal, et cetera, that happens when you see an individual face-to-face. We're going a little over on this one. So
yes. So absolutely everything has to be intentional is number two. And the number three, I would leave us with, I think, is really just surrounding the idea of just how important interaction with teams is, right? It can get you further ahead. It can set you back, and just acknowledging the truth that the team dynamics do matter and your place in the team matters.
Agreed 100%. And so till next week, we're going to talk about that place in your team and delve into personality tests and what you think of that. I know a lot of us are taking it these days, and a lot of managers are using it. So you'll have to tune in next week to hear about that.
Yep. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for coming. I'm going to end us with a little outro music. Let's see if it works.